All right, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to it, people. We are back at it again. It's been a minute since we've spoken, bro. It's been a while. I don't know, man. I've been slacking, feeling very guilty, neglecting the channel. But hey, bro, I've been busy. I've been off work, so I've just been off a lot of things in life, just trying to recuperate, get my mind back in it. But just been enjoying the football, enjoying life easy. But now we're back at it full swing. Life just hit us with a ton of bricks. My car is giving me issues. My fancy team is giving issues. Everything is just issues, Tizo. I just have a lot of issues, but man, I'm just happy to be back, talking about football. So I'm happy to have you here, man. I just want to, before we continue, just thank you to everyone who's been liking, subscribing. Let's just try and get those
Yes,
numbers up,
sir.
bit by bit. Those one, two, three people, interacting is just amazing, man. So otherwise, Tizo, my bro, how you been?
Nah, I've been good, bro. Been struggling with a flu here and there. I think it's just change of season though.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, for the most part, no complaints, bro. It doesn't help. It's great that football's back. Even though we're going into an international break, which is always a drag. Yo, it always feels like it's 2 weeks of international break, bro,
Yeah,
and not
but
just one.
it's a good time to take stock of everything, man. I just feel like
Yeah.
just while we just jump into it, first thing I want to talk about is Man City, before we delve into other things, man. And just from the game itself and the Champions League game that they played and just the because they come back from like back-to-back losses to Wolves and
hmm
also Arsenal now. Do you think just watching the Arsenal game and also the interview snippet that they showed of Haaland, do you think that they underestimated Wolves and even Arsenal going into those games? And does the performances tell that they underestimated, or is it just a thing of Rodri, KDB, some injuries missing, that it's just like something they can just brush under the carpet, or is it something more? Do you feel something more serious or tangible happening there?
Nah, I think it's a wobble, you know. And when you've had the luxury of playing with the same or a similar team for an extended period of time, every team has those pivotal players, right? And if you're lucky enough to keep those players fit for a long enough time, you're bound to win and you get used to playing that way. Before we even talk about City now, you had Liverpool back in the day. They always had Van Dijk available. They always have Salah available. They had Mane available, you know? And like when you have that strong core of players that stay fit all the time, it's like it doesn't matter like who fills in the other spaces. Like it just works because you've got the core available. I think Rodri is that more so even than KDB for City, because he gives everyone around him such comfort. Like the attackers are so much more free in the way that they attack because it's just like we know if things go bad, forget our back line, we've got Rodri covering everything,
That's
and
true.
even in attack, he's the one that's making those incisive passes, opening teams up to allow players like Bernardo or KDB, even an Alvarez, maybe even Haaland to a certain extent, be more free. It's one more person you have to worry about on the ball. So it's one less person that a team can like sit back and maybe play you with a low block. So I think it's a wobble. I think it'll be different now that Rodri's back. And I think they just have a point to prove. We heard in their post match, they're saying it's a wobble, and they're saying watch out to the teams that they're gonna play next. Because they have a point to prove, and I think City is always better when they have a point to prove.
So you feel it's like factory settings whereby they wobble in the beginning and then towards the middle to the end of the season, that's when they pick up steam and they begin to like steamroll everything. Do you feel does the City team give you that same feeling, that same sense that they can go on and do that, or do you feel that there's just some slight window of opportunity for one of the other teams to just come in and do something?
100%. I think if there's one thing we can take from this, we can see that City's frail. I think frailer than they've been in past seasons because you can't lose one player and lose 3 games like on the spin, you know? Like I understand Rodri's important, yes, but you can't lose three. Like literally. And look, it's decent opponents. I think Wolves has always
Hmm.
kind of been a bogey team for
Yeah,
City, but to lose back-to-back Premier League games, there's a reason why they haven't lost back-to-back in
mm,
like 5 years. You know,
that's
that's not
true.
by chance. So like I think there's a frailty to City that
Hmm.
is there this season, but much like we've seen in previous seasons, like if they
Hmm.
find a way to put together 10, 15 game
Yeah.
win streaks, like, and we know City to be able to do that,
Hmm.
they'll
Hmm.
be very hard to knock off. But I think with that said, if you look at this next set of like six fixtures that they have,
Mm,
in there they've got quite a few of the teams that are in and around them. You've got a Brighton, to a lesser degree United, but that's at Old Trafford,
mhm,
which is always a tricky game for them. They've got Spurs coming up. you know. I think they've even got Liverpool in that run.
true,
So
true, true.
if they're gonna wobble, right? If the season is gonna be more competitive
Hmm.
than we've seen, like this run right here is gonna tell us where exactly City's at because they'll also have Rodri
Mm.
back, so that won't be an excuse anymore for the wobble.
I feel the exact same way, man. And that's yeah, like I can't really add more to that because I feel if there's ever an opportunity, the same way with over the weekend, if ever there was an opportunity for Arsenal to beat them, like in the past in the league specifically, it was going to be now. Like with the team looking how it is. I mean, you have a midfield three of Rico Lewis, Bernardo Silva, and Kovacic. And that to me doesn't really scream like like the same midfield three. For instance, if we go back to last season at the Emirates, they came with Rodri, Gundogan, and Bernardo. That is like more and KDB. Sorry, that is more like
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Even in the dugouts, I'm
hard
sure the
problem.
Arsenal players are like looking at each other like, "Hey man, hey." And then this time it's more like, "Hey man, like let's go, let's do it." You
Yeah,
know. And then I just wanna, there's something that's been on my mind that also some other YouTubers have also caught on. And I want to ask you something. What do you think? I'm just going to throw this out to you. What do you think last year's, from a City perspective, FA Cup
sure.
semi-final and the FA Cup final, the Champions League
Mhm.
semi-final and the Champions League final, and this season the Community Shield and the UEFA Super Cup? What do all those games have in common?
Mm,
Mm.
I'm trying to see if there's a common thread
And it's
because
easier than you think.
I don't think they conceded first in
Mm.
all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's it.
Or must I just say
No, I don't know. Tell me,
it?
tell me, tell me.
So what all those games have in common is that Erling Haaland
Hmm.
didn't score in any of them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, and if you think these are like the major games in the season, so I just want to see if like or dissect whether there's something in this whereby he's not a big game player as we as Man City need. And maybe that's why you're starting to see these wobbles because last season you had like a more experienced team to help out because now when you take off a Bernardo, you used to bring on a Gundogan. You take off a KDB, you bring on all these things. Now you're bringing on a Doku, Mateus Nunes,
Hmm.
and I don't feel that these guys are at the same level. Not to say throughout the season or in future they won't be, but right now they're not at the
Yeah.
same level to feed those goals through to Haaland and also. But even last season when they were there, he still wasn't banging them in. So I just wanted to figure out why do you think that is? Is it just a thing of like? Is it just the thing where City can just be like, Haaland doesn't score in these games, it's fine, somebody else will? Or is there something in it to say that, nah, man, in these big games, this guy goes missing and it will catch up with City, whereby if they don't have somebody else to pick up on his not goal scoring. Like now, if Alvarez, for instance, wasn't on the form that he was on, and also he's also the
Hmm.
goals he's scoring like worldies, and you can't score worldies every single game. So, is there
Yeah.
essentially an issue with Haaland that needs to be dissected, or does Pep need to do something so that this guy is more active in the bigger games, or is there really nothing in it? Do you feel that Haaland is just Haaland, he's amazing, and he'll just keep doing it?
I think. Having a player like Haaland, he's always gonna, if you give him a chance to get he's gonna get his. But like in all these big games, like teams aren't just gonna allow you to get yours,
Mm-hmm.
you know? I still have like vivid memories of his hat trick last season against Wolves.
Mm.
It's just like it's the most unimpressive hat trick you're gonna see, but it's just like
Yeah.
he's still got a hat trick. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But in these like semis, in these important games where there's something on the line, and you're playing the opposition that you're playing as well, aren't going to
Mm.
give you the freedom to just get a tap in here and there. Like you're gonna have to work
Mm.
to get yours, um, and there's going to be focus on you. You know, I think Haaland has for the past, not even just last season, I'd say three seasons now. He's been a focal point in every team that he's played for. It's just like you have to pay attention to him. Like the defense is aware of them. Center backs are getting excited about it, and that's why you'll need contributions from elsewhere. You know, that's why you'll need Rodri scoring in the final. You know, or you'll need KDB doing something different. You know, contributing in that respect. So I don't think it's really a slight on Haaland. Um, I think it's very difficult for the type of striker that he is. He's not going to beat three people and then slot it into the bottom corner, and we've known that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like if he's getting the service as well, and you made mention of the quality that he was playing with last season versus now, where last season he's playing with like everybody's giving you issues. You can't leave a Mahrez free, you
Mm.
know like you have to pay attention to that. Grealish was playing quite well. He pulled in attention, and like with Mahrez and Grealish as well, they're feeding Haaland. They're
Mm-hmm.
happy to feed him. Like as much as if they get a chance, they'll get their own, but they know that they don't really have a point to prove so much. You know, whereas now when you're bringing in like a Doku, for example, he still wants to stake his claim and say,
Mm-hmm.
"I'm worthy of being here at
Yeah.
City." Like so everyone's still trying to prove a point, and that can kind of take away from your
Mm.
ability to service your number nine.
That's true.
So you're not crossing when you could be crossing. You're trying to
Mm.
beat your defender. Then you get dispossessed, and it's just like, and we saw that against Arsenal. Doku came on,
Mm.
tried to beat Zinchenko, lost the ball. You know, tried to dribble at the halfway line, lost
Yeah.
the ball. Then he switched over, went over to the right back, Ben White, and not only did he get dispossessed, he also got megged. You know, like, but that's part of him trying to prove himself. If he's getting the ball, driving and trying to put a cross in, like Haaland's more likely to be productive, which is what we've seen from Grealish. Grealish only scored 10 last season, but he's trying to give the
We need
big man.
to,
He's trying to
we're
give
gonna
the
have
big
to,
Norwegian.
there needs to be a dialogue about Grealish, man. I'm not happy about that guy. But it's not the part for that. We need to open a dialogue about that guy, bro. Always. Nah, 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 nah. I'm sorry. And then, but I hear you though with the Haaland thing, and I feel like because if you look at his record in the league, I mean, it's he scored 8 in 8, which is amazing. But if you dissect the
Mm,
numbers, bro, like he's only the teams he scored against is Burnley, Sheffield, Fulham, West Ham, and Forest. And then the teams that he didn't score against would be Arsenal, Newcastle, as well as Wolves away. So that in turn, like just if we just take if I'm just like a mathematical person and I take away, if I didn't know football and I just look at the numbers and I look what it's saying to me, that would clearly tell me that this guy is becoming like a flat track bully, whereby in the games you would expect him to score, he's going to score. And in the games where they
mm,
need him to score, he's not really doing that. And that is in turn why they bought Haaland. They didn't buy Haaland for him to stand pat against Fulham and Sheffield and Burnley. That's not why they got Haaland. They got Haaland to get them over the line. And in turn, last season, which I think was fairly quicker than what they imagined, he got them over the line by winning the treble. Maybe he scored in the quarterfinal against Bayern in both games. He scored up almost 40 league goals, leading them to the league. Scored in the FA Cup. I think even got a hat trick in one of those games. So he is contributing actively. I'm just trying to like maybe nitpick so to speak, because like I'm saying, like I just don't feel like he was brought to score against those teams because whether or not Haaland, even if I'm playing as number 9 against Burnley, Fulham, whatever, Nottingham Forest, if I'm playing number 9, if you get the ball to me in those positions, I have no doubt that I will score because like the way they keep churning out those chances is just mad. So and then just there's something I was thinking about just before we move on to this. Do you think he is a shoe in to get that Ballon d'Or over Messi because it seems like it's going to be a shoot between him and Messi, or does it even matter? Because me, I've always been like in the past 3 to 4 years, I've just always been on this like Ballon d'Or just doesn't matter. Like I don't take into it, I don't care about it. You can win it, yes, I'll be happy, but I just don't feel like it's something to rave on about like it was.
Yeah, I feel the exact same, bro. Sorry, please
Mm.
pardon the background noise.
Nah, no stress, no
Um,
stress.
I feel the exact same, bro. I don't see, like, I don't put that much importance on Ballon d'Or because we've seen that it's not exactly the most objective,
Mm-hmm.
like, individual award that's being given out. Like, so it's like, bro, if they're gonna win, like whether Haaland wins or whether Messi wins, whoever
Mm.
wins, there's gonna be some kind of justification for that. If they give it to Messi,
True.
they'll say, yeah, well, Messi won the World Cup, you know? Like, so it makes sense that they'd give it to him. Or Haaland
Mm.
helped City win the treble. So that makes sense, you know? I,
Mm.
I feel like there'll always be arguments like that, but there's no tangible thing that we can say, okay, this is the reason why this person should be winning, you
Mm.
know? Because we've seen seasons where, like, Iniesta's won everything that Messi's won, but also won the World Cup and scored the goal like to win the World Cup and didn't get it. So it's just like,
Yeah. Yeah, it is a bit tricky, man. Yeah,
yeah, bro,
we'll see how that one, we'll see how that one ends, and then so now just for the sake of time, because I did want to just
mhm,
the bulk of this to just be on that City part, and then I'm just gonna shoot out just a bunch of things that just you can just chat through, and then so let's just move on a bit, chat about Arsenal. Do
mhm.
you feel that the game against Man City do you think it was an Arteta masterclass? Or do you think it was just a thing of Arsenal had to win and they won, no matter how, no matter what happened? So just your general thoughts on like the game itself. Do you feel that it like Arteta is what won the game, or just your general sense of it?
Um, Definitely an Arteta masterclass. I think also showed maturity, not just from the Arsenal squad, but from Teta as well. I think sometimes when you go into games like these, like we've played better against City and lost. You know, like
Very much so, yeah.
it's margins. I loved the fact that we weren't trying to go toe to toe with City.
Mm,
We were saying we want to keep balance, we want to keep shape, and then also the fact that he didn't make the subs early on. You know,
mm,
he waited to see what Pep's move was, and when Pep made his move, he's like, okay, cool. This
mm,
is what I'm going to do to counter the moves that Pep has made, and I
mhm,
believe that this will put us in a position to win, and it did. It's not by chance that the four subs that came on were all part of the goal that we scored to win the
mhm.
game. You know, like that for me is a big credit to Arteta, and I've been very vocal, about how, and we've spoken about this before. He just doesn't make subs when he should.
Mm,
But I think this is one game where he made them at just the right time, and also giving City and Pep the respect that they've earned. You don't lose for like close to 7 years against a team like and still go into that game like, now we've got this,
mm,
regardless of the issues that they're having. Like, you want to make sure that you give them the respect, see what they're going to do, and then counter that,
mhm,
you know? Because we went into that game as the underdog. As much as they had issues, like, if we lose that game, it's just like, yeah, it's expected. You guys have been losing to City, you know? And it's the very same reason why us winning the game isn't being made into a big deal. It's not like, oh,
Yeah.
Arsenal are title favorites now that they've beat City. It's just like, okay, you've done it. You kind of had to do it, you know. So I think it's a bit of both. The team showed a lot of maturity, um, but definitely an Arteta masterclass.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, man. Like I was really impressed. Like for the first half of the first half, I was like, I don't know what's going on. And then the second
Yeah.
half, I feel like whatever he said to them, like you just see like they came out with like a sense of belief. I feel like maybe in the first half, he was telling them like, guys, you guys are doing what we came to do, but you're not being incisive enough. I don't know. Are you nervous? Are you something? What's going on? And then second half, they came out like, no, let's play. Let's get the crowd on our side. And then when we have the crowd on our side, we know what we need to do. And then the subs came on, changed the complexity of the game and all those. And also, there's been like some chatter throughout the fan base or over social media and stuff. Do you possibly think that he's misprofiling Havertz and that this guy is actually made to play false nine in a team like Arsenal? Because playing false nine in a team like Arsenal and playing false nine in a Chelsea team is two very different things. Whereby if you're playing false nine at Chelsea, it's not really a false nine. You still need to spearhead that team. You still have to be the top of that front line, whereby you're dictating everything. Still needs to go through you. Meanwhile, if you're playing false nine in an Arsenal team, right, you can afford to drop in. And then a Martinelli can go into those central areas. Odegaard can, go beyond you, stuff like that. So do you think that there's something in that whereby actually if we start playing this guy in a false nine position, because the number nines that we have are not giving us the goals that we need anyway. So might as well Hoy have it there and maybe because it's very clear our number nines are not a source of goals for us. Like we score very little goals from number nine, so we can
Yeah.
put him there, and you won't have that. Maybe you might, but you won't have that expectation that maybe another number nine in another club would, because he's not a bona fide number nine, like a Haaland, for instance, at Man United. He's not the onus and the responsibility for him to be the main goal scorer wouldn't be there if he's playing false nine. But when we can see the position that he gets himself into, and also he's not bad with the hold up play and so forth. Do you think there's some merit in that, and that Arteta should actually that is something that he should be exploring there?
Um, I think yes and no.
Mhm.
Yes, in the sense that in some games, him playing as a false nine, and we've seen it against City. I think it works really well when we're pegged back and we need to be able to go long, because we won't be able to play out as freely as we normally would, and prefer to. And then no, in the sense that we already have like Eddie and Jesus that are there. And more so Jesus because he already plays interchangeable,
Mhm.
especially with Martinelli, you know. So if you now introduce Havertz as your false nine, what does that then mean for Gabby? You know? Um, so I think playing him in the eight like allows you the freedom to switch it up because we've seen that
Mm,
our front line is usually very
true.
fluid. So that's a spot, firstly, that's vacant,
Mm,
that he can occupy, that he can play in, because also, even in smaller games, you still want the luxury of being able to go long and knowing that there'll be someone there who can knock the ball down for our front three, you
yeah,
know? Because if Gabby's getting it, if Saka's getting it, if Martinelli's getting it, like it doesn't matter who he's knocking it down for. They can spark something, you know?
true.
So I wouldn't prefer to see him as a false nine as
Mm,
much as like we did at Chelsea, because I think that we don't need that from him.
that's
I'm
true.
very happy with Jesus as our big game number nine. You know, if everyone's fit, let Havertz play. If he's gonna start a game, I'd much
Mm.
rather he starts the game at eight than I would playing as our number nine. But if he's like, for the most part, I don't think he should start. I don't think
Mm.
he should start games for
Yeah, no,
us.
that's a chat for another day. If we go into that, we'll never stop, bro. And then I think if you remember the chats that we had when we were still talking about the predictions thing, and I think I'm gonna stick to my guns, because when we had that chat, I was saying that I feel that Chelsea can finish above United. But this was in the context of top five, top six, what. So let's take away the positions from it, what position they'll finish. Just in general,
Mhm.
I genuinely feel that Chelsea can finish above them. Oh, that's what I felt. And then the season began, and then I was like, hey, it's looking a bit tricky, hey? But now I feel like I'm gonna stick to my guns, man. And that's just what I personally feel. And then I remember even talking about it to Shingai, and he was like, nah, Chelsea are, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, man, if you think about it, like there's not really that much for Poch to get wrong or get right. There's just it's like the road is very clear for Poch. You're playing in one competition, like you're playing in one competition, FA Cup, League Cup, whatever. You're playing in one competition. You just need to get your starting 11 and the 4, 5, 6 subs right, and then you rotate around these players. These are the people that you get on side. These are the people that will fight for you, run through a brick wall for you, like your Levi Cowells and all those things. And then now you're seeing like Caicedo starting to come into his own. You're starting to see I don't want to go into Nico Jackson because that's just very
Yeah,
iffy. But you can see, and even though the games that they have won, it's Burnley, it's Fulham, and who else did they beat? Who did they beat this weekend? Whoever they beat. But essentially,
um,
the games that they've won are easy games, like that they should have won, and then the hard games
yeah,
or the hard games that they were in that they didn't win. But if you look at the what you might call it, the what's the word I'm looking for? Um, if you look at the statistics, yes, like the expected
yeah,
goals and the expected goals conceded, like the numbers are very good as compared to like other teams. They just weren't taking the chances. They kept missing. So I just feel like now they're
mm,
starting to, look a bit better. Cole Palmer, I can't sing that boy's praises enough, man.
yeah.
He looks like what I
The
wish Kai
real
Havertz
deal.
was. That's just like when we're getting Havertz, and then I see Cole Palmer play, like slanky, silky, get the ball, head up,
Aish.
threading balls, taking shots. That's the type of player that I wanted, and he's just good, man. But so just for the sake of time, because I think we're running out of time, do you think, basically prediction, Chelsea, Man United, who's finishing above who?
Yeah, I'm okay with saying Chelsea will finish above United. I think Cole Palmer's been a revelation for them. It felt like they were missing like that connector, you
Mm.
know, like just that two-pin plug between everyone.
Yeah.
Like literally, he just feels like he's come in and they just look a better side, you know?
Mm.
He's finding the pass and they're enjoying playing with him. I think you don't take
Mm.
pins in a team
Yeah.
like where there's more established guys unless they're like, look, we also want you to be happy,
Mm.
because you're making us all tick better. Um, so yeah, I don't see that so much at United. I feel like,
Too much. There's
yeah,
infighting there. There's infighting. The
there's
managers
just
versus the players. It's Rashford off form. It's Bruno trying to play like every single position. You got Casemiro trying to play number 10. Like, you got Onana who's got like that. Like he's like Pickford. He's like a black Pickford. I don't
nah,
know.
but Pickford makes more saves though.
Okay, okay,
Pickford
that's
makes more
that's
saves.
that. Imagine now. So me saying he's the black Pickford is more disrespectful to Pickford. Like, there's just what's
Yeah,
going on there. Like, so that's why I feel like there's just all of a sudden, like, I don't know, like there's just all these problems. Do you feel maybe like that's what happened even last season, but maybe like in the same context whereby they lost the first two games of the season, and then Ten Hag managed to, fix here and there, and then they managed to go on a run. Do you feel that this is possible again?
I don't know, man. Like I've been very underwhelmed by United. I feel like I just don't see what type of football they're trying to play. Like it literally feels like it's just put 11 players on the pitch and hope for a positive result.
Inshallah
Like I
football.
don't see like literally inshallah football. There's no, and we're seeing it like they've got talented players on there. They've got like generational players. I mean, we're talking about established players here. You know, someone like a Casemiro who is looking like a shadow of himself. And I refuse
Mm.
to believe that that's all on Casemiro. You know, I feel like it's just like he also doesn't know what part am I
But
supposed to
Tizo,
play
bro,
here?
like
Am
they
I
should have
supposed to
had
contribute
foresight.
goals?
They were supposed to have foresight, bro, because you don't, like, for instance, bro, you don't, in my opinion, you don't go to buy a Casemiro, right, at that age and expect to get
Mm,
4 or 5 years, 4 or 5 good years of him. They were supposed to have that foresight to say, we're getting Casemiro in now to help this manager now. And then, but he needs help. So when they're getting rid of Fred and all these guys, and then they bring on, like, for me, like, Amrabat is not so big an upgrade on Fred. Mason
mm,
Mount is not so big an upgrade on, because they were saying Mason Mount is going to start over Ericsson, and then Ericsson will get the minutes off of Mount. I don't feel he's that
mm.
big an upgrade on Ericsson. There's just so many things, so many decisions that I don't feel they've done or done correctly. So I don't know, man. I don't know how to comment on them, because we are even having a conversation last time at my boy's place, at Noah's place, with a couple of
Yeah,
United fans, and they were angry at me, like talking like, "How dare you speak about my club?" Because I speak about what I see, and what I see is not
yeah.
good. If Rashford is not scoring, you guys are not winning. And I kept on telling them that. And they kept on telling me, no, man, we're gonna, what. And I kept on telling them that, no, guys, this team goes through Rashford. If he's not having a good game, if he's not scoring, then who's going to score? You're going to hope for a Bruno penalty, or like last game, you're going to hope for inshallah, McTominay. And that's what they do, right? Now they're hyping
Yeah.
McTominay. McTominay, hey, Scott, what do they call it? What? Scotty Too Hotty. Scotty Too Hotty. That's what they're calling him now. And then next
Oh
week,
my
they're gonna be
gosh.
clamoring to get him out. Get him out the club. Get him out the club.
Yeah.
Mate, get him out the
Yeah.
club. Harry Maguire, get him out the club. Now this week they're like, Harry Maguire assistants. Hey, Harry Maguire. And like this
Yeah.
fan base, like I feel like Arsenal and United fan bases, we need cleansings, bro. There's something very wrong with our fan bases, bro. There's something very wrong.
Yeah, I think, look, Ten Hag for me has to shoulder a lot of the blame because I feel like he's had a bit of time now, and I can't tell you what his philosophy is. I can't tell you what he's brought to United that's different to like an Ollie. And a lot of money has been spent, and I get that they've also had injuries, which will always change the way a team plays. But I feel like, man, like let me see something, bro. Let me
Something.
see something from you that tells me that like United are gonna be a force in the next few years to come. Because I have no indication of that. There's nothing that's telling me based on how they're playing that this team could actually be the real deal. Because you've brought in players, yes, we're seeing your Hoylands and Mason Mount will eventually come good, I hope. But it's like right now, you can't
Not
be
good.
playing Inshallah football with a squad that
You
valuable, bro.
can't.
Like you can't
Especially
spend
like
that much money. Mm-mm.
after this much time, man. And then you look at someone like Ange, that Spurs. Man is barely
Yeah,
there for 6 months, and you can already see what he's doing. So even if for instance, Spurs go on to lose every single game for the rest of the season, the Spurs fans will still be like, yo, this is our guy.
yeah,
Like, give him the tools,
because you can
and then
see,
you can see,
yeah,
but
100%.
so yeah, I think like just I think we're gonna just cut it there. There's still more I wanted to touch on, but since it's like international break, maybe let's just try and spread it out. Maybe try and maybe have another chat maybe later in the week or early next
Okay,
week to touch on different things, because I
yeah,
also
sounds
wanna
good.
chat about more Liverpool, more Spurs,
Mm,
Champions League. I want to look at the Champions League, chat about that from the games that we've seen. So we have about maybe just a few minutes left. Who do you think, bro, has the best chance of winning the Champions League? Because I, for one, like I was thinking about it watching the games, and I was like, man, like none of these teams look like they can really like put their hand up and be like, yo, this is mine. It might actually be one of those seasons where, like when Porto won it with Mourinho, or when
mm,
Chelsea won it with Di Matteo. I feel like this really could be the season whereby, depending on the run after you get out of the groups, if one of these like like a Arsenal, like a even Barca, maybe, or maybe like some team like that, like like Ace, like when Inter
Yeah.
went to the final last season. I feel like depending on the
Hmm.
run, if one of these teams get a good run with like supposedly easy teams to the semi-final, they could be like find themselves in a position to win it. Do you also feel that way, or do you feel like
hundred
Madrid
percent.
Madrid can still go like, it's
Nah,
ours?
nah, 100%. I think that it's
Mm,
wide open this season. I don't think there's anyone that's looking like a sure bet,
mm,
to win it. It's just like depending, as you're saying, depending on like if you get a
mm,
favorable run of fixtures, you know, and you're halfway decent, like you can get to the
mm.
final, and a final is a one-off game, you know,
That's true.
like anything can happen in
So
a final. So yeah, I
pick
fully
one. Who's
agree.
your dark horse? Pick one.
The Arsenal.
Said it with a straight face. I love it. I mean, but boy,
That's
shout
my
out
dark
Tizo,
horse
bro.
pick.
So just I think before it just cuts itself, man. Thank you for this chat, bro. And to everybody, please like, subscribe. Keep pushing. I'm gonna be doing new forms of content. So just keep it locked, man. And everything I said, like, subscribe. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to everything. So keep it locked. And we'll do another one very soon, bro. Shout out. Tizo, thank you
Yep,
very much. Have a good one, my bro.
definitely.
Peace.
Shut up, my bro. Have a good one too.
Easy.
Peace.